Today we're taking Wigan Athletic, currently sitting in a frustrating 16th place in League One, and transforming them into one of Europe's most dominant forces. But here's the real challenge. This video isn't going to stop until we not only earn promotion to the Premier League, but also win the Premier League and lift the Champions League trophy. It's going to be a wild ride filled with unexpected twists, new signings, countless new faces, and hopefully some future stars along the way. Let's get into it, buckle up, grab the snacks, let's head on in. So then, this is going to be Wigan Athletic inside of the game. Now, they are a team obviously stuck in Sky Bet League 1, but they are a team that have got a lot of history behind them. Now, if we go and look at them, they have won some trophies in the past, being 1 FA Cup, 4 Sky Bet League 1s, 1 Sky Bet League 2, and 5 other sort of lower league trophies. Now, what I will say is Wigan are a team that, although they aren't at the top level of football, I feel like they deserve to be there. There's something about this club that I really, really like. Now, the owners absolutely love the club, which is one real positive. In terms of like the money situation, as you could imagine, you are going to have very limited finances to start. We actually have got a budget of 385k. So I personally won't be signing one single player. The debts and loan situation is absolutely perfect. We have got no debt because we've not really spent any money, to be honest. So in terms of that, we are absolutely golden. Now, what I have done is I have gone and made a custom tactic directly for this team to try and get the best out of what we have. Now, similar to the past rebuild we done, one concerning thing is in our first season, we have got 4 players that actually are on loan. Now, only 2 of them do get into the team, so it's not the end of the world, but what it is gonna say is that if they have good seasons, they might not even want to stay with us. They might get Premier League moves, they might want to progress on their careers, and that's not the best situation to be in. Now, looking at this team on paper, I will say, obviously, we've got quite good players in the likes of Sessegnon. That's not Ryan, that is Stephen, of course, but still a incredible wing back for this level who will get the job done. And to be honest with you, the entire back line actually is somewhat sturdy. So I'm looking to try and gain promotion in the first season. I'm not sure if we're going to do it based off automatic or whether we need to go through the playoffs. We are playing in 4 competitions, so I don't want to be the guy who's making the excuses, but we are playing in quite a fair few games, so maybe automatics might be a bit too much of an ask. Now, we are predicted to finish 13th. Now, for me, I'm not going to sit here and be annoyed if we don't get promoted in the first season, because I could do with a transfer window, really. But in a dreamland, I will get promoted by any means, whether it be playoffs, automatics, however it's done, of course I would take it. So let's go on over, see what we can do. Again, at any point in this video, if you do want to get this rebuild file and also get this tactic, and that's not just this one, that is all of my tactics, all of my rebuild files, and all of these perks, you can come over and join the Patreon and be part of a team of 5,100 people. We've currently got a £700 giveaway split between 7 winners, so £100 each. So you could come on over, earn a little bit of cashola as well, but let's go on over, get into season 1, and let's just see what the Wigan way can do with the mighty Wigan. So then, we did make it to the Sky Bet League 1 playoff final, so we are going to be right in that mix to try and actually gain promotion. We did finish in the rock bottom position to even qualify for this, but we are getting off to a great start here with Darcy inside of 5 minutes 20 seconds. We're then going to have Chambers on the ball, playing it into Dale. Beautiful bit of composure, plays it through into Darcy. Again, a very big player in this team. Cuts it back, and it is going to be a sublime finish into the top right-hand corner to go 2-0 up inside of 15 minutes. Can we go and grab a third? That is the question. Well, apparently not. It is going to be Simpson down the left-hand side. Plenty of space, a ball in the box, and it is going to be taken very well from Donnelly to make it 2-1. And something tells me Leyton Orient are not going to be a team that are going to bend over and accept it, as they are going to pick up the ball again, and it is going to be Donnelly through, and it's a great first touch. And at the moment, Leyton Orient looking like the better team, as they are going to go through and make it 2-2 and tie the game up. And at this point, we are really backs against the wall sort of vibes. But in our credit, we push it to extra time. Chambers picks up the ball into Smith down the left-hand side, and it is going to be a 3-2 advantage to Wigan Athletic. All we've got to do now is attempt to hold on, which unfortunately is not going to be the case. Cooper is going to play a ball down the line. It's going to be found, and it's going to be a great ball in the box, and it is that man again with the header literally 38 seconds after, as we are now going to go in to deep stages of extra time. 110 minutes played. Sessegnon, please not a mistake. A beautiful ball over the top. He's going to take on his man. He goes alone, and we are going to be promoted from a wonder strike. We love it. Is right, we are going to be promoted from Sky Bet League 1 in Season 1. I will go over and show you the league table. It wasn't the prettiest season, it was okay. We finished literally in the last place to actually attempt to even gain promotion through the obviously playoff opportunity. Now, apart from this, I am just going to show you all of the competitions because it wasn't that great. I mean, the 4th round, a knockout in the FA Cup against Sheffield. It was one hell of a game, but we just couldn't get the job done. The 2nd round of the Carabao Cup against Wolves. We're never going to beat Wolves at this stage of the rebuild, so not too annoyed. And the quarterfinals against Huddersfield, which was on penalties. So it is the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. I'm not too fussed about it, but it would have been nice to try and, you know, at least get to another final. But realistically, let's not be negative. We have gained promotion and we are going to see what players have done the work, because filtered by our best 11, we've already lost some players. Now, looking at it, we've got Sessegnon coming in with serious assists, loads of assists. Same's going to be said for Chambers, a good contribution. The midfield's doing really well. 14 and 12 coming in there for Weah, which we like to see in the right side of the AM. 9 and 5 for Darcy. He played a big role in that, obviously, playoff final game. 18 and 8 coming in from Dale, and Hungbo coming in with 14 and 5. With Taylor just down here with 22 goals, so let's not disrespect him either. Now, in terms of money, we've only got a budget of, I believe, well, 4.3 million. Now, if we go and look at someone like Taylor, for example, he could actually be a player that we might bring in. But now I've looked at him, is he going to cut the mustard in the Championship? That I am not sure of. And this is where it gets really challenging, because we have to either take the gamble on some players, put them for a year of the Championship. Now, what I will say is, I'll make this very clear, it doesn't matter if it takes us a couple of seasons to get from the Championship, because we've got the time that we've done Sky Bet League 1 in an instant. So we have got a play-about season to really build a team. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take some time, really look at these players one by one and sort of see, are they Championship level? But to be honest with you, even if they're not, I've only got 4 million to bring players in. I think it's going to be a loan season. Let's get into it. We managed to literally lose 0 players, so our squad is going to be big, and we have brought in 3 new additions. The first one is going to be Tyrese Campbell. Now, he come in on loan, and he done the business. 22 goals, 6 assists, drops a 6.95, but as you can imagine, the only thing that's going on my head right now is this guy going to want to stay? If we're still in the Championship, and if we're in the Premier League, is he good enough for the Premier League? So it's 2 real questions that I've got to ask, and both of them could be negative outcomes. So he's done the job this season, but his future is yet to be decided. Going to welcome in Louis Watson on the free, a player that I don't think has come in and done that well. He's come in and got an assist, dropped to 6.72. At this level of the rebuild, I am purely trying to introduce fresh legs into the team. So he's nothing special, not to be disrespectful to him, but he was there just to play the games when he needed to, and clearly there must have been some injuries because he has played 16 games. Now, the same can be said for this lad here in Emerson. He is a little bit better though. He's a bit of an older player, a bit more experience, an American player, a good Sky Bet Championship player. But again, he only played 15 games. He did get a goal, picked up 2 assists as well. But once again, a player that isn't going to be brought in to break records, but purely add legs to the squad. And with these additions, I'm hoping we've at least managed to be quite competitive in the Championship, because I am so confident in the tactics that I make, and I hope it's done enough. So let's go and see. We'll start in the Carabao Cup, where unfortunately it's going to be a very early exit in the 2nd round against Mansfield. We have just seen, though, Manchester United won it, so that's nice to see. FA Cup, I am in no way annoyed because we faced up against Newcastle. Realistically, we were never going to beat them. I am not annoyed a single bit about this one. I mean, how can I be annoyed? Because we have won the Championship. We're on the McKenna vibe right now. We have got promoted from Sky Bet League 1, promotion from the Championship, and I tell you what, it was done quite convincingly. Unfortunately, Ipswich must have come down. They are now going back up with us, but Wigan are going to be your overall champions. And I can tell you what, we have got some players in the stat lines as well. We've got 2 goal scorers there, Campbell being one of them. We've also got 2 players joint second with Jay Stansfield when it comes to the player of the matches. and we've also got the second most clean sheets. So I tell you what, we are doing the job. The one thing that I hate about getting promoted so quickly is, well, let's just go and look at the team and I'll explain. This is what I mean when I say it, okay, because I look at this team and they've done such a good job, coming from Sky Bet League 1 to Premier League in literally 2 seasons. So it's one of the big parts of the video done. But we're aiming to win the Premier League and the Champions League. Now, let's just put the Champions League to one side for a while. But the Premier League, these players are most likely not going to do anywhere near the level what they're doing in this league right now, and it's quite sad to see. Now, I look at the players, and for example, Ranky at right back has done such a good job with 13 assists, Sessegnon at left back with 14. In the Premier League, I want to say you can probably half that. They're not going to be able to keep up. The midfield is okay for this league, but I mean, even for this league, even Smith isn't exceptional. So for the Premier League, I doubt he's going to be much cop. 15 and 14 for Darcy, a great season. Again, is he going to do it in the Premier League? We're not too sure. And as for Campbell, he might have a shot of doing it in the Premier League, but he's not even one of our players yet. So overall, the players have done very well for this season. I can't really fault them. But how much money have we got to take into the next year? We have got one serious budget. We've got 84 million. So, I mean, realistically, we can bring in 6 to 7 players right now. So a lot of this first team might change. And I wanted to explain that for, firstly, any Wigan fans, and secondly, for anyone curious, that if you do see a lot of changes, I'm doing it to try and stay in the Premier League. So let's get into our first Premier League season. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's go spend some money. Our first signing is one of the most important signings you need when you gain promotion to the Premier League. It is going to be a goalkeeper. And we have gone over and picked up Bento. He comes in from Al Nassr. Now, I will say, he did concede quite a fair few goals, but we are Wigan Athletic, so we don't also have the best backline. So I'm not going to be too critical of him. He's a decent Premier League keeper, and he cost me literally nothing. So it was a sensible move. Player that, of course, has been in the Premier League before, that is going to be Louis Barry. Now, he is a player that is still very young. He's only 22 years of age. He's got the pace, he's got the dribbling, very good to play on the left-hand side, and of course can also play in the middle if we need him to play there. Now, he comes in for 1.6 million, and I'll be honest, the return that I got from him, I'm actually quite happy with. 7 goals, 6 assists, drops a 6.93, his value's gone up as well. Not only is it good for business, it was good for results. We are also going to pick up Jonathan Panzo. He comes in from Nottingham Forest. Now, he was going to be a free agent, but I wanted to snap him up before anybody else, so we got him for 275k. He plays 37 games, gets 2 goals, 2 assists, drops a 6.89. Overall, a very good semi-young centre-back, come left-back, that is a clear improvement on our current situation. Also going to splash out £9 million on Taylor Garden-Hickman, coming in from Bristol City. A very good midfielder, come right back, a bit of a James Milner vibe. He's got decent, well-rounded attributes, and he can play in several positions. He comes in, and of course, we'll get loads of game time, because he can cover several areas, and actually drop some decent stats. So do you know what? For a player that usually I would never sign, I'm glad we got him. Our big signing and a big gamble is going to be picking up Josh Sargent. Now, this guy can do it, okay? He's got the finishing, he's got the composure, and what I will say is he scored 38 goals in his first season, dropping a 7.41. Now, this guy does get fed a lot of chances, so the goals I am expecting. But do you know what? To score a goal a game as Josh Sargent in his first season, I think we're going to be quite lucky to even keep him, because he is going to be sought after big time. We're also going to go up and pick up Aaron Ramsey, coming in from Cardiff. He comes in at the age of 23 for £7 million, 11 goals, 6 assists. Very similar to Josh Sargent. He has massively overshot my expectation of him as a player. He has come in and not only taken to the Premier League, but he has walked the Premier League. And when we've got players doing this in Season 1, I want to say quite now that I can confidently say we have not been relegated. If we have, I want to know how. Also going to go over and pick up an Ajax man, and the negotiations were so difficult to attract him to come to Wigan. It's going to be Carlos Borja. He comes in for 14 million. The return stats aren't as good as a Sargent or, of course, as a Ramsey, but they are still there, and he is a player that is going to just hopefully develop over these next few years, and we can have a player that potentially could be a world-class winger at a team like Wigan, which would be absolutely ideal. He isn't on too much per week. I wanted him for around about 27 grand a week, but he pushed me up to 41. I wanted him at the team, and when he's looking at me like that, how can I say no? Lastly, we are going to pick up Maxime Esteve. He comes in from Burnley, of course, a very good player in real life. £17 million, gets the job done at centre-back, also picks up 8 assists, which does tell me he might have played some games at left-back potentially, and that is going to complete our transfer window. 83 million spent on this page, and on this page 1.9 million, again losing 0 players, so our team is massive. So that is one big confidence boost I've got. We have got the players, we have got the squad. How far can we push it in Season 1? Well, a big improvement in that FA Cup. We are not going to win it, of course, but we are going to get to the semi-finals, and Manchester United needed extra time to beat us. Carabao Cup, maybe not as positive. We are going to go out to Southampton, a team that I feel like we can beat at the moment, and we are going to go out in the 3rd round. But do you know what? Let's just ride the hype of the FA Cup semi-final, and let's also ride the hype of European football. In fact, Champions League football. That is absolutely remarkable. In our first season in the Premier League, we are going to be finishing in 5th place and gaining Champions League football. We only lose 7 games, and a couple of them are a blitzing, I will be honest. 5-1 against United's one, 5-2 against City's the other. But to actually accomplish this is incredible. Josh Sargent, a Premier League top goal scorer, definitely overshot my expectation. The best average rating as well. When it comes to the assists, we're going to have Sessegnon in joint second with Ward-Prowse. We have got some players in here that are really pushing the sky. The limits. They are really pushing the limits, and I am nothing but proud of these lads. Now, in terms of money, we have been given 77 million pounds. Now, that is to be expected. We have just got Champions League football, and what a season for Wigan it is. Our debts and loans is still very minuscule, so we can go and spend more money. And looking at this team, let's just go and see who got the job done, because Josh Sargent with 44 across all competitions, 8 and 7 for Barry, Ramsey 14 and 9, 4 and 9 for Weir in midfield, 8 and 8 coming in there for Gardner. Decent return. The wing-backs also doing quite a good job when it comes to the assists. Now, it is somewhat what I said. The stats are going to be nowhere near as good as what they were in the Championship, in Sky Bet League 1, because some of these players still aren't, I would say, Premier League quality. But do you know what? For a first season, it's not as if we just scraped survival. It's not as if we just scraped our way into the top half of the table. This is our first season, and we're in 5th place. Now, next season, I'm going to say it now before anyone calls it a bit of a fall-off, I am expecting to finish a little bit lower in the Premier League, because we're going into the Champions League, and we've only had, 3 transfer windows? That's nuts. Let's get into the next one. Our first signing is going to be Mohamed Ali Ben Romdane. I believe that's how you say that. He's going to come in on the free, I believe. He does come in on the free. He plays a ton of games. And do you know what? For a free player, one of our better midfield options. So do you know what? Never usually would I pick up somebody like this, because I've never watched him play in real life. But a Tunisian, bit of experience, a bit of flair in there as well. I'll take it. What I hope to be our starting left back for the rest of this rebuild, yeah, a big gamble. It is going to be Dennis Sirkin. He is going to come in from Brentford for £10 million. Now, he does pick up 4 assists, 2 player of the matches as well, and at the moment he is a good Sky Bet Championship player, but I have used this guy before, and he can develop into an incredible wingback, and he already is quite a decent wingback, so I'm going to try and stick with him. We've got him on contract until 2031, so I mean, I've spent big in keeping him here. Also going to go over and pick up another centre-back in Lorenzo Priola. He's going to come in from Olympiacos for a total of 24 million, so a big expensive centre-back signing that did pick up 4 goals and 3 assists, and very similar to Sirkin, he's not as on the younger side, but he is only 25, he still is quite young, perfectionist personality, he's got the pace, he's got the tackling, he's a solid centre-back, and at Wigan, he's more than welcome. Spent quite big on a player that was obviously, when he is this sort of time at Tottenham, he was rumoured to be the next big thing. Unfortunately, that's not really happened for him, but we are going to pick up Jedson Fernandez. Now, if you actually look at him, he is one of the more well-rounded midfield players that would want to join a team like Wigan, that are only really scraping the top 4. Now, I will say, this player cost me a bit too much for his age, in my opinion. 26 million is quite a fair bit to pay for him, but he has returned 9 goals, 5 assists, a decent average rating. It's a bit of an overpay in my opinion, but I look at it and his value's already double. So let me know in the comments, did I get ripped off or is that a fair price? And lastly, we couldn't have got ripped off for this guy because I did not spend a single penny. He comes in on the free from the Belgian league. He picks up 9 goals, 3 assists and drops a 7.11. And he's now valued at 22 to 30 million. So once again, if he does fall off, he doesn't want to play anymore, we can easily get 15 million. That is 15 million pounds of pure profit for the Wigan board, which then of course we can go and spend on future players. Now that is going to be the transfer window done. Our first player we are going to lose is going to be Toby Sibic. Again, a player that was never going to get game time. He goes to Queen's Park there where he plays a lot of games, to be fair to him. Once again, this is going to be a real strong transfer window. We're talking about adding in several midfield players, a good left back, good centre backs. We have covered a lot of areas in one window again. So let's get into the next season and see how far that can push us. Can't quite believe what I'm seeing because we somehow are improving in terms of just consistency, which I'm not expecting to do at the moment because we've still got a pretty average side for a team in the Premier League. Now, we're going to be in 3rd place. We only lose 7 games again, and we're looking at players like Josh Sargent being our 2nd top goal scorer in the Premier League in, you know, his 2nd season, which is still remarkable. In terms of clean sheets, Bento's going to be in there as well. Louis Barry, the 2nd most player of the matches, and we have got 3 players alongside of Dwight McNeil's player. I mean, it's unbelievable. Gardner coming in with the most assists with 15 and Louis Barry with 12. It's an absolutely remarkable season. For the English Cups, we're a little bit of a disappointment. The first one is going to be an exit to Newcastle in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Really annoying one is going to be the Carabao Cup where we lose to Luton in the 3rd round. Again, a team that I feel like we can go toe-to-toe with. Now, the Champions League, you can see here, we get knocked out in the knockout playoff round against Atletico Madrid, and it was done on penalty, so it was quite a close game. But if we go to the league phase, we did finish in 13th, and let's just go and see exactly who we played. So we beat Atletico, Sevilla and Anderlecht. We drew against AC Milan, that's impressive, Rennes, and of course that team there, and we do lose against Salzburg and Newcastle. Now, for our first real competitive attempt, I don't feel like that's not much of a bad display. We beat some pretty big teams there. We drew against a couple of decent teams, but we just can't really get the job done. And do you know what? That's completely fine because we're still growing into our shoes in the Premier League, and we're growing a lot quicker than what I thought as well. Now, in terms of the money, we have got a budget of 16 million, a lot more than that, 74 million pounds. So one thing that I will say is, I cannot slate the board at all. They're backing me every single season, so I can't have that as an excuse. Now, I look at the situation, we'll go onto the homepage because we're actually performing within our sort of league finish. So we're not really too weak at the back and we're not too weak at the front. I think the whole team needs to be improved to obviously go on and push on. Now, what I will say is Josh Sargent has got half the goals he had in his last season overall. He had 44 in his first season, so he definitely has fell off a little bit, but it still is a fair goal return for a player like Josh Sargent. Now, I will go on to say Gardner Hickman has been a very, very underrated signing, I think. He has come into the team, walked his way into right back with 15 assists and 6 goals. Sirkin at left back with 7, 10 and 5 for Fernandez, 10 and 5 coming in there as well. Ramsey a good return, Barry a good return. The bench is looking quite quiet, so it's quite obvious we do need to go and spend some money on improving the overall team. But do you know what? So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're still nowhere near winning the Premier League, but we're making very good progress. Right then, we are going to go over and spend somewhat big and bringing in Kenan Yildiz. Now, this is a player that is incredibly versatile, can play on the left, up front, and through the middle. So he is going to help us in 3 positions. Now, he comes in for 52 million, and I must admit, I have seen him return better stat lines before, but it is more than okay for a first season. It's his first season over in England in the mighty Premier League, and as long as some of them goals played big parts in getting results, I am more than happy. He's a player for the future and definitely one that will be with us for years to come. Also going to spend a very little amount of money, but basically bringing in a bit of a better goalkeeper in Nicholas Hedil. Now, he comes in for 220k, 33 conceded in 38 games. It's not half bad compared to what we did have. 6.95 on the average rating. And as I said, limited money spent and a big improvement. We are also going to pick up one of Liverpool's finest in Connor Bradley, most likely their new right back or new upcoming right back. We have taken them from them for £27 million. He played 32 games, picked up 2 goals, 10 assists, and that is all that I need to know. He has come in, done a great job, got the assists there, defensively very, very sound as well, and honestly, a very, very good player. Lastly, for 65k, so basically free, it is going to be Zacharias. He is going to come in from Slavia Prague for 65k. It's an okay return in terms of stats, nothing too electric, but he's not guaranteed first team football anyway. So again, a player that is brought in purely for depth reasons, and again, for business as well, because we could easily turn a profit on him if we wish to do that at all. And that is going to finalise a fantastic window. 4 new additions, big names, wingers, attackers, goalkeepers, right backs, midfield players. We have covered, again, a serious amount of ground with this business. Let's get in and see what we can do. We are going to be in an FA Cup final, and we are going to be in the 82nd minute. Fernandes is going to find Bradley down the right-hand side. What a statement that could be! And it's a statement as we are going to win our first big English trophy. Big improvement in the Champions League as well, as we get all the way back to the semi-finals, where unfortunately we do face up against Madrid and we only lose on penalties. Is this a sign that we're slowly being able to compete with some of the best? Might be, because we are now in the Carabao Cup final against Brighton. Not an easy game at all, but Connor Bradley is going to find it on the right, into Fernandes, into Ramsey, a little touch inside, beautiful. Oh my word, a beautiful start to the game inside of 12 minutes right about now. A penalty just before half-time from Josh Sargent is going to make it 2-0. And look who goes on to finalise a 3-0 win. It's going to be none other than the new star boy in town. Connor Bradley's going to find him, I believe. He does. It's Yildiz. We love to see it. And we are also going to get a second place finish in the Premier League. We have absolutely cooked this year. Josh Sargent being incredible. Marcus Rashford, I've got to shout him out, in the top goal scorers there. This season, Heddle in second place with the clean sheets. This season is by far our best one. Second place in the Prem, semi-finals in the Champions League, FA Cup winners, Carabao Cup winners. It is such a good season. And in return, I'm expecting a little bit of the old cash flow. So let's go and see how much we have got. That's more like it. We have got a budget of 118 million to take into our next season, and that could be the turnaround from second to first in the Premier League. Now, this team, let me just talk to you about this team, because genuinely, it is such a good team we've built already. It is such a good team. And if you do want to carry it on, you know where to go, because genuinely I would recommend it with this one, because the players we've brought in have done such a good job. Fernandes, yes, he's on the older side, but he's everywhere. Every highlight, he's doing such a good job. 16 and 16 for Yildiz, 45 and 2 for Josh Sargent, 14 and 9 for Ramsey. I mean, genuinely, this team is overachieving beyond my expectations. Ridiculous. I can't even put it into a sentence. These players are doing such a good job, and I look at them, and what is quite scary is we've still got so much room for improvement. Like our midfield, no disrespect to him, but Ben can be replaced with a better option. The back line, maybe another centre-back can come in. And if you look at the front line, you might turn around and say, Josh Sargent? Really? He's getting the job done. He's winning us trophies. He's scoring 45 goals. If a striker's on the market that can outcompete him, would I sign him? Potentially. But for now, he's doing a very, very good job. And after that season, I'm going to have to carefully pick these new players, because we're onto something. But let's get into the next window. Then, so sign-in one, and our by far, I believe, our most expensive signing, it is going to be Bradley Barcola. Now, he comes in for 69 million, 11 goals, 5 assists. Now, I'm going to stick up for Bradley a little bit here, because I've gone into several of the game highlights, and he's playing a mixture of up front and on the left. So he's not really getting a chance to settle into one serious position. But when I saw him on the market, he was interested. I had to get him. He's such a big name for Wigan to have. And yes, it is a luxury signing, but do you know what? Sometimes, especially with how well we're doing, you've got to bring players like this in. So I'm going to pick up Christoph on the free, the former RB Leipzig man, a very good AM player. He comes in on the free and picks up 9 goals, 2 assists, drops to 6.93. Again, a player that is purely brought in also for business reasons. And if we were to be purely about money, we could easily get 50 million for him, which would recover some of Barcola's costs. So you got to think up here sometimes. We're also going to go over and pick up Martin Vitic. He is going to come in from Benfica. He comes in for a total of 25 million, an incredibly solid centre-back. And I tell you what, for that price tag, I'll happily pay it. He's still only 26, and his value... well, his value's at 77 million, so again, even for business again, we are countlessly buying players on the cheap, improving them, and they're turning into expensive pieces as well. I don't like to say property, but expensive players. Say the same thing for Giovanni Fabian, because guess how much we paid? We paid nothing. He comes in, 10 goals, 6 assists, drops a 7.16, a great return, a great well-rounded midfield player that is valued at £94 million. The business we have got at Wigan right now is absolutely unreal. We could sell up and build a bloody empire if we wanted to. The business we're doing here is genuinely really good. It doesn't stop there, because we also pick up Fagoli on the free, coming on from, by the way, Real Madrid on loan from Juve. But we get him on the free. He doesn't drop the best stats, to be honest, but again, business reasons. We have genuinely spent, what, 25 million on this page, and then 69 on Barcola on that page. But if we were to actually sell up these players, we'd turn a profit on every single one. We have done a great job in not only bringing in big names, strengthening the team, but also thinking that we are Wigan, we haven't got unlimited money, and you got to think smart when it comes to the finances. This is probably one of the better windows I think I've ever had. So let's get into Season 6 and see what we can do. Well, we're going to start off with the real only positive of the season, because we are going to finish in second place, very close behind Manchester United. We are going to see Josh Sargent being in the top goal scorers. We are also going to see the likes of Connor Bradley, joint second with the most assists, and Heddle just behind Cabell there with the most clean sheets. But I'm going to call this the almost season, because I'm just going to show you. It's a bit of a fall-off in every single competition. Now, first of all, the Community Shield, a 2-0 loss to City. I don't hate it. It is Man City. It could go either way at the end of the day. The quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, we get absolutely spanked by Tottenham 4-0. That is a real disappointment. 5th round by Arsenal, again, a very close game. Maybe a bit more acceptable because Arsenal are still quite a competitive team. Although I say that, they are actually in 8th. Tottenham are the better off placed team. So a little bit annoying in that regard. And the quarterfinals when it comes to the Champions League, which again, we did face Madrid, who have got Mourinho back in charge. Come on. And they have got a very interesting team. A team that I want to say we could beat, to be honest. But hey ho, we didn't. That is the harsh reality. And we've now got 2 big challenges still to do, and we're in Season 6. We have to win the Premier League, and I stupidly said the Champions League. Now, in terms of money, we have got a budget of £63 million, which is still more than fair. Our debts and loans are a little bit in there now because of Barcola, so I might look to sell a couple of players, or I just won't spend every single penny. Now, in terms of the actual tactics, we're not going to blame individual players, but the stats have fallen off a little bit from quite a fair few players, if we're being honest. Now, Josh Sargent didn't get affected by being not replaced, but having competition. He still scored 28 goals, which is great for him. Barcola, I want that electric season. Yield is, as much as I love the guy, actually dropped quite a disappointing season with 2 and 5. 24 and 11 for Fabian is immaculate. Christoph, great season for Sirkin, who is definitely developed into that star left back that I was talking about. But realistically, we still need to win the Prem and the Champions League. Now, the Premier League, we've now had a couple of seasons where we're maybe 5-6 points off. So, did we actually beat United out of interest? Who did we lose against? We lost to United twice. So, if we would have beaten them, we could have won the league. So, it's just about going toe-to-toe with them, I think. They've got Zidane in charge, a big improvement. They've got Xerxes, Garnacho, Diallo, Johansson, Fernandez, Tierra. I mean, it's a beatable team. It's a very beatable team. Pafundi on the bench. It's a beatable team. I genuinely... Oh, Gyökeres as well. Torres. Okay, yeah, they've got a very good team, but I still believe we can get this job done. So let's get into Season 7 and just aim to win either the Prem or the Champions League. Let's tick off a big one. So we're only going to have 2 players being brought in, and the first one is going to be a regen, I believe, in Christopos Ilia coming in from Fulham. He comes in as a world-class 22-year-old for 31 million. He picks up 6 goals and 12 assists. Now, he was brought in to be a midfield player, but he actually come in and played right back. And do you know what? I understand why. He is a perfect right back, and his value 102 to 115 million. The guy is a perfect player. Like, I'm not even just saying that. He's literally perfect. Lastly, as a backup option up front, we are going to sign Marcos Leonardo. Now, he actually is more than a backup because he played a ton of games. 15 goals, 6 assists as well. A decent return for a free player, and I say it countless times, but look at the value. The business is businessing. We've generated so many expensive players by bringing them in either on the free or next to no money. This might be a business club at this rate, but after that window, I'm looking at my chances and I'm thinking, that right back's a big change, a big player to come into the team. That could be the difference between winning the Premier League or not. The addition of Leonardo as well, the fact we're not losing players as well is a good sign. Let's just go and see what we've done. Right then, the FA Cup final, the chance to redeem from last season against Arsenal. It is going to be Sirkin down the left, back into Bradley Barcola, little touch inside, and a beautiful finish from Barcola inside of 6 minutes. And I tell you what, we do not stop there. Sirkin is going to pick up the ball down the left-hand side, plenty of time, into Barcola, drives it back into Christoph, back into Barcola, plenty of space, and he is going to make it 2-0 in 20 minutes. And at this part of the game, you may think the game's done. Oh, no. The Gunners return with one of their famous set pieces. A great goal there to make it 2-1 just 4 minutes after. And Arsenal don't sleep. Havertz into Martinelli, drives through the entire back line, into Saka, little touch inside through, into Wahi, who is going to tie it up 2-2 in 30 minutes. But the boy who we brought in on the free is going to be the big reason, or the reason, we do go on to win the FA Cup. Jedson, into the new right back, into Christoph. We're going to be your FA Cup winners. Carabao Cup final as well, back to back. That is right, 2 English finals again against Chelsea. Barcola inside of 16 minutes. He's going to go alone here. Oh my word, it is absolutely beautiful from Bradley Barcola to make it 1-0 in 17 minutes. We are now going to be just before half-time, the right back into Christoph, into the new right back. A little touch and a great ball in. No way. Is it going to be him again? It's going to be Barcola to make it 2 inside of 45 minutes. And we are going to go and have the last laugh, the humiliation ritual almost, into Sargent, into Fabian to make it 3. That is going to be a very easy final. Also going to have quite a good run in the Champions League. We smash Marseille 5-1 in the round of 16 to get through to the quarterfinals, where we beat Barcelona 6-2. A remarkable game right there, which of course pushes us into the final as we beat FC Bayern 5-1, but unfortunately we're going to play Madrid, so I reckon this is probably all she wrote. Or is it? Because if you're a Wigan fan or a Football Manager fan, get smashing that like button, because we're going to go 1-0 up inside of 32 minutes. Now, I will say it gets even better as we go 2-0 up before half-time, and I'm going to say it right now, the final scoreline was 2-0. We beat a Madrid team, and we had 10 men. This is a miracle. Duffert, let's just show you. We have also won the Premier League, only by 3 points, but we have won the Premier League, and I tell you what, Giovanni Fabian is going to be our top goal scorer in the Prem. One of the attacker midfield players who we got in on the free has made all the difference, which is why I always say to people, don't miss up on the free agents, because they can make all the difference. And I tell you what, that is a quadruple winning season with this Wigan team. An immaculate end to the video. If you are going to carry on this rebuild, by the way, you have got a budget of £182 million. You've got 0 transfer debt, 0 net debt as well, and the team I've left you with might be one of the better teams to go down in history. So make sure you go on over to that Patreon and carry this save on, because you've got a cracking tactic, an immaculate team that's built up of a mixture of young talent, experienced players, players that you can sell to bring in younger players. I mean, let's just go and look at some of the value. We have got so much value in this squad. It is absolutely unbelievable. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, I don't know who to crown the player of the rebuild. There's so many players. I'm going to let you decide in the comments. But if you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know who you want to see rebuilt next, and I'll see you in the next one.